Okay, we're going to quickly talk about GAM. And GAM is a command line tool for Google G Suite administrators. Now, depending on how big or small your domain is, you might use this or you might not. If you're familiar with Office 365, you know that a lot of stuff needs PowerShell to run. And a lot of stuff doesn't, but it makes it a lot simpler. It makes your administration a lot faster. Once you start working with GAM and you start working with scripts, you can then save those scripts that do things for your company. You can reset the entire company's passwords. You can rename your domain. You can do very, very powerful things very, very fast. So this is just an introduction on how to use it. We're going to use it to add a user, to edit a user, and to delete a user. Okay, let's get started. Firstly, you can get to this website, github.com/j0lee/gam. Now, I am on Windows. If you are on Linux or Mac, here are your commands. On Windows, I'm going to the GitHub releases pages and installing an MSI. Under the releases page, you will see your Linux installs, your Mac installs, and finally at the bottom, you'll see the Windows installs. I'm on a 64-bit machine, so I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to download and install it. By default, it is going to install into C drive /GAM. Most scripts that I've found on the internet or I've worked with always assume you're going to put into that folder. If you're not, you need to reconfigure quite a few scripts that you're going to be running. So I would suggest leaving it in that folder. So it's asking, is this a new install or an upgrade? Depending on what you've done, I'm going to push N for new, enter. Are you ready to set up a Google API project for GAM? And we're going to say yes. Please enter your G Suite admin email address. So whatever is the one with basically super user, type that in. Just going to highlight that, Control C. Okay, entering. This will now sign in to your G Suite. Okay, and we're going to say allow. And it's going to give us a code which we need to copy and go back into the DOS prompt. If you just push your right click button, you'll get that pasted in there. Let's push enter. It now creates a project. It now says go to this link. So we're going to highlight that link again. Control C. Pasting that in. Okay, so this pop-up pops up, surprising, and it asks you to agree to the terms of service and whether or not you want email updates. Once you've ticked this, so I'm in South Africa, I'm going to say agree, and let's get some email updates, and I'm going to say agree and continue. And I'm now going to flip back to the command prompt. It says we can push enter now. Now enabling 16 APIs. So going to another website, so let's highlight that. Control C. Okay, so now we're at the Google APIs interface. Let's flip back. And it says here, enter GAM for the application name. So there's the application name, which we're going to enter GAM. Leave the other fields blank and then click save. So we're going to put application name in there. We're not going to do anything else there, and then we're going to push save. Once we click save, there's going to be choose other, enter desired value for name, and then click on the blue create button. Application name is going to be GAM. We're going to scroll down and we're going to push save. It now says choose other, and enter desired value for name, and then click create. So I'm going to choose other, and I'm going to call this GAM Taming G Suite, and I'll say create. It now says copy your client ID value. So here's my client ID. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click the right click button, push enter. Now go back to the browser and copy your client secret. So are you ready to authorize GAM to perform the G Suite management operations? And I'm going to say why, yes. And now it gives us options. Select the authorized scopes by entering a number. Append an R to grant read-only access or an A to grant action-only access. Okay, so let's scroll down. And what you'll see is it's going to ask for all of these. So we can select all scopes, unselect all scopes, exit without changes, and continue to authorization. So if I'm looking at the Classroom API, do I want to switch that off? So if I push on 0 and push enter, it switches it off. I'm going to push 0 again, and it switches it back on. So now we are going to continue to authorization. So make sure that all of the things that you want to authorize are there, and let's push C. We're now going to go following link, Control C, Control V, go into that account, and all of these permissions are the same as all of these permissions. So if you see Cloud Print API, there it says Manage Your Printers. View or manage data transfer between users, you got user security over here. So scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and then push Allow. Copy this code, paste that in by right-clicking. Okay, so it says, are you ready to authorize? I'm going to say yes. Please enter the email address of a regular G Suite user. So I'm just going to put in Michael here. And I push enter. So it's just a regular user. Okay, so what you'll see here is it tried to do a test, and it says that, okay, your system time differs from Google by less than 1 second pass. Here this is passed. And then it says domain-wide delegation authentication as Michael. So this is fail, 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 fail. Okay, so some scopes failed. Please go to this address and grant the client name this access to those scopes. Control C. Okay, so we're going to add the client name, which is this, and say copy, and paste it in there. And it says one or more API scopes. It needs to be separated by a comma. So if you highlight from there all the way to the top there, you see it's got commas between each of them. Control C, and I'm going to paste that in, and I'll say authorize. So what you'll see is that this API client, or this client name, has now been allowed to access these API scopes. So let's flip back, and it says, confirm you've entered the scopes correctly. It can take a few minutes for the scopes to pass after they've been entered. Are you ready to authorize again? And let's push Y and enter. And let's try Michael again. And now it says it's all complete. All the scopes have been passed. So let's push any key to continue. And let's push finish. What I've found is if you go into C Drive and you go into the GAM folder, you now have all of these files that have been created. The most important files are actually the OAuth files here. which has got the IDs and the client secrets and all of the ID tokens set up. So instead of going through this process next time, please make sure you do a backup of this folder. Otherwise, you will have to do this again. The command prompt that we've just worked through says that it's all connected. Let's just do a quick test. So let's go into your command prompt again. You don't have to go into the C drive GAM folder. Let's just type in GAM info domain. Great. So now you see that it's actually working. The user counts as of the 4th of November, how many licenses for G Suite Business, how many G Suite Business users, and how many users I've currently got. So now you can see quite easily how this would be beneficial. All of this information is actually very difficult to get going through G Suite. Like how do we know when this was actually created? Finding the user licenses, that is very, very quick to type in and see how many user licenses rather than actually logging into your Google Apps or your Google G Suite. In the next video, we're going to do a couple more things with GAM. So, meet me then.